What is happening, sports fans? Jermaine Matt from the DFS 5-pack. Back with you, rocking it solo. It is Friday, June 10th. We have a monster MLB slate tonight, 15 games. Can't get more than 15 games. Every team in play. I'm excited to get on here and break it down. I'm going to make one video, members only for the public. It's been crazy around here with the new baby and my wife having surgery last week. So apologize for not being on here as much as I would like to be, but that will change in the near future. That being said, as I mentioned, we got 15 games tonight, so I don't want to waste any time. Let's dive right in. I'm going to do it position by position just to kind of save time and know that there's just a ton of good spots tonight. In tournaments, it's basically a play whoever you want type of night with, so many teams in play. All righty, let me share this screen and we'll dive right in. So as far as pitching options go, a couple guys up top that stand out. Musgrove at home against Colorado. Musgrove's just been fantastic this year. So, again, in a really good spot getting the Rockies away from Coors. I like him here. I mean, what's not to like? It's just a matter of, how much of an emphasis you want to place on expensive bats. And DK did price up bats today. So guys are really expensive all over. Not to say there aren't cheap bats to pair with them. But it's difficult to pair Musgrove with Severino and expect to get a good offense. Speaking of Severino, he also looks good at home against a weak Cubs lineup. Has been really, really good recently, coming off a monster upside game against the Tigers last time out. I also like Severino a lot. You're paying the premium for both these guys, but they both look really good. I have a lot of interest in both, in either/both of them. Pablo Lopez, not the spot I'm going to be using Pablo Lopez. He's been really good this year, more solid than spectacular recently. He's expensive and in a really tough spot in Houston. No thanks. Zach Gallen, I'm a huge Gallen fan, but kind of like Lopez, he's been more solid than spectacular. Philly's on fire right now. I'm not going to be going to Gallen here. Buehler, he has been worse than the other two recently. I mean, check the game log. He hasn't topped over 14 in 5 starts. A negative and a 1 in there. So I'm not encouraged by how well he's pitching. He's expensive and in a tough spot against the Giants. No thanks. Tyler Mcgill, he was awful last time out in Washington. He got destroyed. I used him. I remember that. And then he went on the DL. I'm not going to spend 9-7 for him here. Not like it's an awful matchup, but, he's expensive coming off the IL. Trout presumably is back tonight. I mean, Trout's cheap too. I think Trout plays tonight, but who knows? I do know I'm not spending $9,700 on Mcgill. Rasmussen, he's been good. The Twins obviously went off on Garrett Cole last night. I just like the other options around Rasmussen better, not Luis Garcia. Miami's not an awful spot, obviously, but he's also not a pitcher I want to spend $9K or more on when we have so many guys to choose from. Speaking of guys to choose from, Tristan Mckenzie, I like him a lot here. Wasn't good last time out in Baltimore. I think he bounces back nicely, and arguably the best matchup in baseball against the A's. They are awful. Any good offense would have destroyed Connor Pilkington last night. The A's are not a good offense. They ended up only scoring 4. I like Mckenzie a lot here, especially with guys priced up. He seems fairly priced at 88, high on my short list. Same with Aaron Ashby. Same price point, basically, 8,600 in Washington. This guy's got monster K upside, as evidenced by the 12-9, his past 2 starts against the Cubs and Padres. Better spot here against Washington. I like Ashby here, and it gives you a nice savings from, if you use Mckenzie and Ashby, you're saving from the Musgrove and Severino tier for sure. And bats are expensive, as I mentioned. Jacob Junis, no thanks, not against the Dodgers, even coming off a good start. Luis Castillo, on paper, decent spot for him because the Cardinals are basically all righties, but the Cardinals are also good. I'm not going to spend $8,500 on Castillo here, even though I'm a Castillo fan. I don't think he's crazy. I'd use Castillo over Blackburn and Meltzer, so those two aren't in play for me. Barrios has got to be a look here. He hasn't been good this year. I mean, look at his ERA. Before that Minnesota start, he got destroyed by the Angels. He's very boom or bust, but Detroit stinks. I should take back what I said about Mckenzie being in the best spot because Barrios is probably in the best spot against a awful Tigers lineup that strikes out a ton. I like Barrios and McKenzie. They both look like they're good looks in all formats here. Chad Kuhl, no thanks. Rich Hill, no. Gibson, no. Then we get to Spencer Schreider, who's getting a lot of love. Max Fried dominated last night. Strider's pitch count has grown, went from 46 to 72 to 87. I think he settles in 90 plus here, assuming he's pitching well. Good spot against Pittsburgh. He's had a tough start to his, career starting, in Arizona and in Colorado, now at home against Pittsburgh. 7K, definitely in play. I like him more in cash games just because of the ownership, but I get it in all formats. Contreras has been impressive, but I'm not using him in Atlanta. Otto isn't crazy. Righties against the White Sox have been pretty good. I like this White Sox offense, though. They're heating up, and Otto walks a lot of guys. So I think the White Sox are definitely in play tonight for me. Marco, no. Wade Miley, no. Fetty, no. Gillen Martin, he wasn't good last time. I don't think he's crazy, but not where I'm going to go. Palante, no. Heasley, no. Zimmerman and Rodriguez, no. And then Diaz at 4K. He's 4K, and he's not that much different to me than the other guys, like all these other guys from Contreras down. So I'd probably use Diaz and just pray if I were using any of them. Tough spot against the Mets, though. So, again, no Marte and maybe no Alonso, though. Spot's a little bit easier than it would have been last week. Still, I'm not like that excited about Diaz. Don't even know how much he's going to pitch here. He is 4K though, so you can always make the case for the guy that's 4K if he's going to get any sort of length at all. Alrighty, let's talk some positions. So catcher. Let's see one thing quickly. Obviously, every position, I wouldn't say loaded. There's going to be good options at most every position. A catcher, the top guy is going to be Salvador Perez. Really good spot against Zimmerman. He's heating up recently. We know he's got big time power. A lot to like about Perez here. If you've got the money, he's the guy. I like the Blue Jay stack. So Kirk looks good, even though he's expensive. All the Jays are crazy expensive, which makes it hard to get there. But if you can, I like them here. MJ Melendez, lefty on lefty, nice discount from Perez. I like him. And then the guy I like in tournaments is, where's my boy Yasmani Grandal, 3,400 cheap. I mentioned I like some White Sox. Walked and had a late RBI single last night. I'm calling the home run tonight from Grandal. I like him a lot in that White Sox stack. And, he has not been good this year, but long track record of him being a very good hitter. So I think he turns around sooner rather than later, and I like the White Sox tonight. Other than that, catcher pretty weak. We'll have to wait and see when the lineups come out. If there's any really cheap guy we like. Austin Wins, not a great spot against Buehler, but he's cheap and he was raking in the minors. Don't hate it. Catcher's not too exciting here at all. So not going out of my way to to get any one-off, unless it's Perez probably. I like Grandal in the stack, but all right, first base. There is no big chalk at any position because every position just has so many options. So it looks like right now the guy getting the most love at first is Rowdy Tellez. 3,600 against Fetty at home. I get that. Milwaukee's in a good spot here. He makes sense for sure. Then you got Harold Ramirez. It's a big discount play at 2,400 against Smelter. He'll be in the lineup. He's also been good lately. Last 2 games he's played, he's gotten doubles. You see he's got 15 in 2 of his past 3 starts. So I get that. I don't mind that. I mentioned Vlad. He's in a good spot against Rodriguez, who doesn't get many strikeouts. I think the Yankee stack looks good. Rizzo won't get much love in lefty-on-lefty matchup. Then Jose Abreu, guy I've been on a bunch recently, starting to heat up a little bit. Not having a crazy good year, but 3 walks yesterday. The big game's coming. I like Abreu a lot. If I were making one lineup right now, he'd be in it. Obviously, it doesn't mean much for baseball because projections, you can kind of throw them out the window. But He's the guy I do like. Joey Votto, I think, looks pretty good here. He's really heated up since his slow start. 3,900, nice price point there. Doesn't look like he's getting any love at all. There is a little bit of weather concerns in that game, I should mention, so worth noting. J.D. Davis is a nice punt also if Pete Alonso is out. Crushes lefties, and he's cheap. All right, second base. Finally get kind of a chalky piece at second base in Colton Wong. He is day-to-day. Not even sure if he's going to play, but if he's leading off and playing, he's going to be popular at that price point. Makes sense. He's just a solid look, presuming that he's in the lineup. At the high end, Gleyber Torres looks good. Max Muncy looks good. Came out, after returning from the IL with a bang yesterday. Hit a 3-run homer after La Russa's just drunk. Walking Trey Turner on a 1-2 count, then trying to justify it afterward is an all-timer. He is awful. Muncy, I think that kind of got the pep in his step going. I like going right back there. I'm not scared of Junis at all. I take the Dodgers side over Junis, for sure here. I mentioned Colton Wong. Speaking of the Dodgers, Gavin Lux. Big game yesterday, on the road again, so guaranteed 9 at-bats. Don't mind it at all. Other than that, not much I love. If Biggio makes the lineup, sure. Josh Harrison, if he makes the lineup, sure. Is your cheap exposure. And then, the other guy is Ezekiel Duran. I don't mind a couple of Rangers pieces. So hit 2K, raking in the minors. Don't mind that at all. And then the other guy I forgot, speaking of the Rangers, I think my favorite tournament to be is Marcus Semien, who has gotten hot, crushed Cleveland, and after he was really good against Seattle, now against a White Sox team that I think scores some runs today. I like running it back with Semien. I like Duran. I like Seager. I'll get there in a minute. All right, third base. Yeah, J-Ram's going to be the most popular third baseman, as he should be, because he's arguably the best hitter in the majors this year. You can make the case for Aaron Judge, a couple other guys, but Ramirez is nasty. He's that dude. He's in play every slate he's on. Nothing's different about tonight. Other guys certainly in play here as well. Machado, feel like he's got a big game coming sooner rather than later after struggling for a little bit. Devers in a Boston stack. Never mind him, lefty on lefty. Josh Donaldson, same story there, although he kind of stinks now, so I'm not excited about that. I'd rather play DJ LeMahieu hitting leadoff. Matt Chapman in that Blue Jay stack. He's one guy that's not overly expensive. That helps. Yohan Moncada, not having a great year at all, but again, this is a much heralded prospect. Had been hurt for most of the beginning of the year. Pinch hit yesterday and drew a walk in a tough at bat. I think that boosts his confidence a little bit. He'll be in the lineup today with Berger leaving, so Moncada is my favorite spend-down option, especially because I like that White Sox stack in tournaments. Duran also 3B eligible, so worth noting. Shortstop. Shortstop's pretty weak here. Got Willie Adames getting the most love. The Brewers seem too cheap, so I get it. Adames will be right at the top of that lineup. Big power upside. I think you want a lot of Milwaukee exposure in cash games. In tournaments, Trey Turner always in play. I don't see why he wouldn't be in play tonight. Dude just rakes, runs, runs, hits bombs. He's like the premier shortstop one-off, in my opinion. Bo Bichette, like him a lot as well, especially in that Toronto stack. He looks good. Bogarts, same with him. Witt in the Royals stack against Zimmerman. No issues with that. I think the Royals look good again. Talked about the Rangers, Corey Seager. We know he's got big upside any given day. So as a one-off, always in play in that Texas stack, surely. Danny Mendick, presumably leading off for Chicago. Don't mind him one bit. After that, it gets really weak down here. Vidal Brujan, I will say, if I need a punt, he has been good against lefties this year. They started against a lefty against St. Louis on the 8th. Proceeded to have 14 DK points. I think he'll be in the lineup here, and he might be hitting 6th. don't hate it at 2,200. All right, outfield. Of course, a bunch of really good outfield options here. Looking at ownership, looks like Yelich, Mullins, Buxton, and Acuna are the guys getting the most love. So Yelich, he's too cheap. I mean, he has been just okay recently, but again, it's not like he's been awful. 28 DK points over his last 3, all singles, but I feel like the big game's coming at 4K. I mean, there's a lot to like there. Buxton, we saw his upside last night. He's way too cheap. He should never be under 5K. Just no reason. I mean, he looks really good in all formats. And then the Orioles guys, Mullins. Yeah, a lot to like about Baltimore tonight. He easily stinks. Mullins with 2 doubles last night. Lots to like there. Santander also pulling some ownership, 3,700. He looks good. I imagine all the Baltimore guys get love here. And then your usual suspects will also get love, like Judge, Acuna. I mean, Stan against the lefty. I like Mookie Betts kind of as a one-off to be different from those guys. 0 for his last 10 at least, but it's Mookie Betts. The big game's coming, and no one will be on him here. I think people are giving a little bit too much respect to Junis. JD Martinez against the lefty, always in play. Talked about Toronto a bunch, like Teoscar. Whit Merrifield looks good leading off for KC at 4,700. Where's my boy Luis Robert? Also affordable at 4,700. Doesn't seem like he's having a great year, but still averaging 8+ DK points per game. Got a hit in his last at bat last night or yesterday. He's definitely on my short list here. I like the White Sox, as I mentioned, so I like him. Adolis Garcia and that mini Texas stack, he works. Andrew Vaughn, and then we'll get to AJ Pollock, a nice cheap piece. Diego pieces are crazy tonight, and Profar is on fire. I mean, check the game log. 12+ in 4 in a row, 22 exactly in his past 2. He looks good here. A lot to like there as a one-off or in the mini stack or in the full stack. Aaron Hicks is hot right now. Homered last night. Had 8+ in his 2 before that. As a one-off or in that Yankee stacks, he looks fine. Tapia is a cheap piece in that Blue Jay stack. You're going to need some cheap guys if you're going there. And then the guy that I've been on a bunch that I'll just keep going back to is Oscar Gonzalez for my Guardians. Dude just hits. Hasn't had a lot of opportunities with guys on base and hasn't hit a home run yet, but has hits in 12 of his first 13 games in the big leagues. Is hitting 417. He's 2K, hitting in the middle of this Cleveland lineup. Yeah, he looks like an elite value piece, free square-ish, if you will. I think you can plug him in all formats. That being said, that's pretty much all I got for you guys, but I'll just reiterate that there's so many good spots tonight. You can play whoever you want and kind of be different just because there's so many different spots to play. So I like these MLB slates. Know that it's unlikely that your team goes off because there's so many teams in play, that your team is the highest scoring team on the slate. But if it is, there won't be that many people on them because there's so many teams to choose from. So if you want more info, more content, more videos, more me, any of that stuff, go check out the DFS 5-pack. We'd love to have you. In the meantime, I'm around this afternoon if you guys have questions, and I'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow or on Monday. Thanks again, guys.